Fey! Fairy! Fairies! Fairy tales! You probably get where this is going now. Welcome to Monster Week 2026 Fey Week! Yes, it is the yearly week of monsters created by Ginny D and the Pointed Hat. During this week, myself and a bunch of other creators are getting together to participate in making content all relating to one relevant topic, and in this case, it's anything Fey related. When I saw that this was the theme for this year's Monster Week, I'll be honest, I was immediately like, well dang, I don't know anything about the Fey. Oh, how naive I was. Because like many tiny creatures trapped inside bottles, I do know a thing or two about the Fae, because I've watched movies growing up. And those movies are what we'll be using as a jumping point for today, as I attempt to give you something you can take home with you on your adventures, be it player or DM. So sit back, put on those fairy wings you got when you were 10 for Halloween, and let's dive into the world of the Fae. So in Dungeons & Dragons, the Feywild, which is where Fey creatures hail from, is described as being a parallel plane to the material plane that is fueled by wild, unpredictable magic. As such, the inhabitants are very much the same, being rather strange in the eyes of outsiders, with a sense of morality that is entirely alien to our own. Many of its inhabitants are creatures you might find in the material plane, now given humanoid forms and the ability to speak, such as Harengon and Bullywugs. Others are typically some combination of animal or an insect merged into the shape that resembles a human, such as fairies or centaurs. Typically, you'll find that they have some animal trait that really brings home that feeling of being engulfed in nature. But this isn't always the case, since there are some creatures like Eldrin, Dryads, and Hags that take on a much more familiar, human-esque form. Now, with all of this in mind, tell me if this sounds familiar at all. Alice in Wonderland, the story of a girl who follows a walking, talking rabbit dressed in formal attire down a rabbit hole, and then discovers another world where nothing makes any rational sense. Sound familiar? Well, let's keep going. Along her journey, she has a drink that makes her shrink, a cake that makes her grow, and then has a tea party in the middle of the woods with a psycho and a talking rabbit. I mean, does it really even get any more Fey-like than that? Well, I mean, like, yeah, it does get more Fey-like than that, but I'll get to that in a minute. And while I know this isn't technically Fey, because it's not old European folklore, I'd beg to differ. Even D&D themselves classify at least some of this as Fey because of a little old stat block for a grinning cat posted in Bigsby Presents Glory of the Giants. Now with my reasoning out of the way, what could we use from Alice in Wonderland that really encapsulates that Fey essence in a subclass that isn't already done? We already have the Path of the Wild magic for barbarians, the Archfey patron for warlocks, wild magic sorcerers, Fey wanderer rangers, and I guess a few other ones if you want to flavor like the nature-y subclasses into being Fey related. So kind of limited on class options unless we want to like double dip. Well, why don't we look at some of the characters from Alice in Wonderland? Looks like we've got well, pretty much just a regular queen. Oh, the rabbits I mentioned? Wait, no, those are just regular dudes. And we've already got a race directly inspired by them. Mad Hatter? What would his power be? Going insane? Man, I just wish there was something that was inherently interesting that I could tie to a very specific mechanic that backs up how that class is played, but would also be a unique spin on things through intriguing mechanics. Wait, what's that? Cheshire Cat Rogue! Did you see that coming? I'm sure the thumbnail and title definitely didn't give any of that away. But if you think about it, it just makes sense. A rogue that can turn invisible? I mean, that's just a match made in the heavens right there. So with that figured out, how do we do this? I mean, invisibility is a fairly common spell to learn as a wizard, but it's not exactly as common as the ability to teleport seems to be, probably because becoming invisible grants massive benefits, especially to a rogue that can sneak attack with those benefits. Even the invisibility spell itself has a hard limit on that it's a concentration spell, and the moment that you do anything with it that isn't just walking around with it, the spell ends. It's not until 7th level that a full caster can get greater invisibility to counteract that issue. So how do we base the rogue subclass around a character known for two main things, smiling and going invisible? Well, why not both at different levels? Starting with those big, beautiful, horrifyingly white, pearly whites, then slowly work our way to the invisibility part, and then really take off from there. So with that said, I introduce to you the Grinning Rogue. As a Grinning Rogue, you've always found yourself smiling at the most inopportune times. Most days, people will compliment you on keeping a good attitude even when you feel low. And on other days, people will chastise you for smiling when misery arises. You've never known why you always smile. Either you have figured it out now, or you have yet to understand it. But the influence of a grinning cat beseeches the muscles in your face to put on a smile, even and especially when it hurts. With such influence, you have inherited the qualities of this Fey creature. So what do we think? Good idea? Bad idea? Am I striking out already with the first video of homebrew content I've made? Well, if you're not sure, why don't we just go ahead and look right into the features. Beginning at 3rd level, you gain 2 features, the first of which, Charismatic Smile, grants you the ability to add one of your sneak attack dice to a persuasion or deception check before you know its outcome. The reason it's tied to your sneak attack dice is that you can only use this feature a number of times equal to half the total of sneak attack dice you have per long rest. That way, when you get this feature, you can use it only once a day. Nothing crazy, but certainly useful. And as you climb levels, you can slowly but surely do this more and more frequently. And the moment you get reliable talent, you're almost never gonna fail one of these checks. But then what about those that find that never-ending smile creepy? Well, I've got you covered there too. Unsettling Smile, your 2nd, 3rd level feature, grants you the ability to use your bonus action to cause any creature that can see your smile within 5 feet of that smile to be susceptible to your sneak attack even without needing advantage. Kind of a diet rakish audacity. And because I felt that it was just a little underpowered, and for later abilities to make sense with this one, I made it so that when you hit a creature that is affected by this ability, then becomes frightened of your smile until the start of your next turn.
But no, why do you keep specifying that the abilities are based around the location of your smile? Isn't your smile always attached to your face?
Well, firstly, I'm gonna pretend like you didn't just say that to me. But to answer your question in the most vague way I can, you'll see. As rogues do, you have to skip 6 levels before you get your next subclass ability. So you should probably make it pretty damn good. Well, I think I might have done just that with the rogue's level 9 feature, Fade Away. When you use your uncanny dodge feature or your evasion feature, you can choose to become invisible until the end of your next turn. Also, just for a bit of utility, you can use an action once per long rest to become invisible for up to 10 minutes. The condition ends when you make an attack, deal damage, or cast a spell, just like the level 2 spell. Pretty cool, right? Man, I just kind of wish there was a bit more flavor, especially flavor that enhances the abilities, since being invisible kind of makes it so that nobody gets to see your pretty smile anymore. Oh wait! I forgot to mention that when you're invisible in this way, you can cause a body part to remain invisible, such as your arm, or your head, or your smile. That's right, you're a full-blown Cheshire Cat by now, and you've got the bodiless smile to prove it. But I'm not done, because once you're invisible, and you've left those pearly whites behind, guess what? They stay in the spot you left them, while you're free to roam around without provoking opportunity attacks. Hey, remember how I said it'd be important to note how the enemy has to be within 5 feet of your smile? This is why. This right here. Now you're free to move out of the way and maybe get a sneak attack on your way out too. And to expand on this, if you leave a limb holding a weapon behind, you can make an attack from that space as if you were standing in it. Boom! Now you got options. Leave a creepy smile or leave an arm wielding a weapon behind. But how will we expand upon this? Kind of feels like we've hit the ceiling of what a Cheshire Cat can really do. Boom! Level 13, Pained Grin. When you deal damage with your sneak attack against a creature, it can either deal the normal type of damage or psychic damage. Not that resistance to non-magical damage attacks really exist in modern D&D anymore, but I mean, this is still a good utility for when it comes up. Okay, fine, it's a little weak for level 13, so how about this? Sacrifice 3d6 from your sneak attack damage as a cunning strike, and the target will start grinning uncontrollably. While grinning in this way, they cannot take reactions and will take 1d6 psychic damage at the start of each turn until they use an action to steal themselves and stop smiling. There. Stopping an enemy from using an action or continuously doing tick damage. Always a good option to have. Plus, you get the little bonus that they don't provoke opportunity attacks anymore. Are you happy now?
I don't know. What's the capstone feature?
Well, why don't you wait 5 more seconds? Level 17, the capstone feature of this subclass, Grinning Step. This feature starts by giving you 2 more uses of your level 9 ability to use an action to become invisible for up to 10 minutes. While invisible, you can use a bonus action to teleport up to 60 feet to an unoccupied space you can see.
Oh, so I go invisible, teleport, and then I can get a sneak attack? Thanks, man. I can do that with the Fey Touch feat and
I'm not done! At this level, you should be pretty good at staying invisible. Not permanently or anything, but I mean, you shouldn't have to worry about missing your sneak attack and exposing yourself. So, if you miss your sneak attack while invisible, you remain invisible until the end of your next turn. Bada bing bada boom! Your abilities are now more reliable and you even have a safe way to escape if you mess up. And just like that, the Grinning Rogue is complete! Man, sure did take a lot of reworks and rebalancing. Sure would be a shame if I had to do some more work. as I attempt to give you something you can take home with you on your adventures, be it player or DM.
Be it player or DM.
Fine. I'll throw in a unique Alice in Wonderland inspired monster for the DMs out there. I don't really have a whole lot more time I can add to this video before it gets too long, so maybe this will help to keep it a secret from your players. Anyway, I hope that this can serve as a pretty decent introduction to the first subclass of my channel. It's not like I've gotten to really experience what this subclass would be like in the hands of a min-maxer, but, you know, I'm sure it'll be fine. Nothing bad ever comes of an invisible rogue. Hey, where did my wallet go?